morning. These two cars have something major in common. What they have is a version of GM's Voltec powertrain. The Cadillac derives its power from the first generation Volt's powertrain, and this is a second generation Volt, a 2019. Oh, and one more thing they have in common. They both aren't made anymore. This particular, this 2019 Volt has Pacific Blue as its color. It's primarily blue, but there are shades of purple and green. I don't know if it'll show up on this camera as I take it through the sun and different angles of the car. I can see some greens, I see definitely purples, and it's a very pretty color. Okay, so this is the Volt LT. It's the basic trim level. There's another trim level that's higher, it's called the Premier. But this one is basic. Cloth covered seats, hard plastic surfaces, but it still looks nice, it's functional, and it still has a lot of standard features. Air conditioning, power windows, power locks, cruise control, nice wrapped steering wheel. It's a comfortable car to drive. Of course, this is a hatch. We'll take a look at the space available in the back here. So, measuring out, we've got about 31 inches of depth to the back of the seats. And interior width-wise, about 38 inches across. And maybe 18 inches of depth at the back of the hatch to about 22 inches towards the back of the seats. So there's a fair amount of luggage space in here. I don't think you're going to get shortchanged at all with the amount of room that you have. So the standard MSRP on an LT Volt is between $34,000 and $35,000. And there's options that you can add to it. This car does have a couple of options on it, totaling about $1,300, which took the MSRP up to $35,000. But those options are heated steering wheel, leather wrapped, the heated seats. Also, I think it has lane departure. Some of the safety features on here, part of an option package. Now, New York State has a $1,200 rebate, I believe, if you buy an electric vehicle, depending on your battery size. Because it's like if you bought the Chevy Bolt, I think it was around a $2,000 rebate. GM has reached their limit, 200,000 electric vehicles sold. So the federal tax credit has been reduced from $7,500 to, I think in March of 19, it was reduced down to half of that, which is $3,750. My wife had bought this car in November of 18, so she was still able to get the full $7,500 federal tax credit that was available. So it makes quite a difference when you factor in the $1,200 rebate from New York State and the $7,500 federal tax credit on a car that's $35,000. That brings it down considerably. And my daughter, at the same time that my wife bought her car, she found a dealership in New York State that had like a dozen 2018 Volts that were left over. Brand new, full warranty. He had discounted those cars with the New York State rebate a total of $10,000. So her car, which was stickered at $34,000, came down to $24,000, and that was before the federal tax credit. So now you've got a brand new car for around $18,000. It was hard to beat, and she just loves it because her commute to work was close to 60 miles, 55 miles, somewhere in that range. And she just got tired of the gas that she had to keep putting in the car before she got the Volt. Now, she's able to make the round trip to work with her commute just on electric, especially in the summer. Here where it gets cold, your electrical range will decrease. And I think on the Volts for us up here, it decreases to about 45 miles in the winter. So, this car is rated for 53 miles electric, and in the summer we get anywhere from 57 to 60 miles on the range. And when you factor that in with the gas range, which is estimated to be about, I think, 42 miles to the gallon, on some of our small trips on the highways we're getting 46 miles to the gallon. So it's a very economical car, and this happens to be a plug-in hybrid, which is different from other vehicles. I don't think personally that I would get a full electric vehicle until I saw the full build-out on the New York State Thruway with the service areas. It's just, it's still got that question mark, you know. I mean, there's more and more stations or areas where you can get charged up, but still, most of it's an inconvenience. I mean, you got to look for certain shopping plazas or hotels or certain things that have these charging stations. But with a plug-in hybrid, you still get the benefit of full electric, but the peace of mind of still having backup gas if your electric runs out. Most of the commuting around where we are, we never touch the gas. This is October of 19. My wife, since November, when she picked up the car, has put in herself just one full tank of gas. I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is a chart of available plug-in hybrid cars that you can get. And they're ranked by the best in mileage, electrically, to the worst. Let's see, where am I? Down in here somewhere. And as you can see, the Volt is still number 2. However, when you factor in the gas range, this BMW i3, yeah, maybe has more electric range, 153 miles, but it only has a total range of 200, according to this chart. So the Volt, even though it's been discontinued, it's no longer relevant, is still the second best on this chart. It's followed by the Honda, which gets 48 miles on electric charge, which is good, and I'm sure it's a good car. But if you've ever seen one in person, man, it's ugly. I mean, I don't know who designed that car style-wise, but they, it is disjointed. It just doesn't flow. And the Volt, believe it or not, is quite sleek. I think it's a good-looking car. So this chart is a real good comparison, which brings me to the point of why General Motors decided to get rid of this car, where they could have used the technology and improved it and put it on a platform with small SUVs, which are very popular now, and continued with this. To this day, I just don't understand why they did this. That's why it was one of the reasons, federal tax credit, and the reason that they were being discontinued. My wife finally decided to jump to get one. Well, just getting back to my daughter for a second. A car would normally take, on the standard so-called charger that GM provides with the car, anywhere from 8 to 12 hours or longer to charge the car. So I installed what's called a level 2 charger in her garage. And now she gets home, opens the door, the plug is right there, plugs it in, voila, she's done in 4 hours. A level 2 charger takes the time and just cuts it basically in half. And for 2019, if you can find them, the Volt had a fast charging system that would actually cut that in half down to 2 hours. I can't use a fast charging system on her car or my wife's car because it's not equipped for that. But it was an option, I think it was around $750. If you opted for that, the car would be equipped so that you could fast charge it down to 2 hours. Okay, we'll take a look under the hood for a second. You can see what's in there. It's a number of, I count 3 cooling bottles. I think what some of this cooling does is cool the main battery. And it has a 1.5 liter, I believe, 4-cylinder gas engine. And it's actually what they call a range extender. Here's the area here for plugging in your car. I'll show you that for a second. So it illuminates and you're able to plug right there. That's in the front driver's side. And on the rear passenger side, this is where your gas fill is. And actually there's a button I'll show you in a second. When you need fuel, this is on the driver's door. You stop the car and you have to press the button. I think it somehow or something, it depressurizes the tank, and then it'll show up on the dash and it'll say ready to refuel. Start the car up for you, step on the brake. And now we're running. The green side of the dash there will give you your indication of how much electrical charge you've got left. And the blue on the right side is your fuel level, your gas level. So the car is running right now. It's very quiet. And this is your infotainment screen. And it has a number of features. It's an 8-inch screen. When we go back to home, you'll see it has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. And this is your energy. This is your charging options. And you can see what your range has been, what your electric is like. As you can notice, you'll see a paddle here. This is on the left side of the steering wheel. And what that does, that's the regeneration paddle. So when you're getting ready to brake, stop sign, signal, or whatever, before you actually use the physical brakes, you pull this in, and what that'll do is start braking the electric motors. And the energy that comes from that is put back into the batteries. So where we live, a short distance away, there's a hill. And it's not very long or very steep. But when we go down that hill, we apply pressure on that paddle. And by the time we get to the bottom of the hill, we have gained 3 miles of electric charge. And you can just watch your electric mileage indicator go up. So we gained 3 miles just going down the hill. So actually, the paddle adds to, I guess, the dynamics of the drive. So you're constantly trying to eke out as much electric power as you can, and it makes driving just a little bit more fun. And actually, the more you use that paddle, the less you're using the physical brakes. Your brakes, theoretically, could last, you may never replace rotors. That's how long you could go because of using regen. So getting back, this is the window sticker. You can see our particular car has this driver confidence package, lane change alert, rear cross traffic alert, and it has a comfort package, leather wrapped steering wheel, heated wheel, leather trim shift knob, driver and front passenger heated seats, mirrors. So the price without options, $33,520, and with the options, it brought it to $34,835, and then the destination charge $875. So total vehicle price was $35,710. Getting back to that chart I showed you earlier, these are the all-electric vehicles. Of course, it's led by Tesla with its range of 285 to 370 miles. And then as you continue, they drop down. So like the Leaf, even the second generation Leaf only gets from 150 to 226 miles. And then now there's the Honda Clarity again. It's the same ugly car as we saw as a plug-in hybrid. And why would you buy this if it doesn't have any gas range and it only gets 89 miles on a full charge? Of course, this is even worse. When you get down to the smart car, only 58-mile range on the smart car. And of course, here we're back with the plug-in hybrids again. You can see some of the ranges and the models that are available. And they're listed in order of the amount of electric range that you can get. We head up here. So I just want to make one more comment on these type of cars. Now, there's a lot of hybrids out there, and sometimes it gets confusing, but a regular hybrid car normally uses the gasoline engine to recharge the batteries. You get very little pure electric range on a hybrid. And typically, if the car approaches 35, 40, 45 miles an hour, you don't have any electric usage. It's strictly with the gasoline engine. And the hybrids, typically, you're not going to be able to plug them in to recharge the batteries. You're dependent on the gasoline engine to recharge them. So you have very little, let's say, benefit of it, that if you want to use pure electric, you don't have much choice. There's very little of that. The plug-in hybrid, though, its main source of power is the batteries. So those can be plugged in. You can run strictly on batteries for the extent, the type of range that you have for that particular vehicle. And not to worry, if you run out, you still have the gasoline to back you up. And that's exactly what the range extender engine is in there for. So you don't have to fear running out of an electric charge, yet you still get the benefits of running on pure electric and the savings that presents. Again, and the last thing, the pure electric vehicles, I still have reservations about it. Most of the electric vehicles, pure electric vehicles coming out now, outside of maybe what Hyundai is got the Kona, seems very nice. I mean, I think it gets up to a 300-mile range, but most of them are coming from the top-end Germans, and they're expensive. The I-Pace car from Jaguar, these are expensive vehicles. So I think the 19-volt, being the last of a breed for Chevrolet, if you can find one, and I'm sure the dealers are discounting these since they're no longer manufactured, I don't think you can go wrong with the price. If you get a $35,000 vehicle with maybe $5,000–6,000 knocked off the top, plus I know it's a reduced federal tax credit, but still, right now, if it's still $3,750, it just adds to the value of that car. So this is why I'm kind of saying this is a waste of technology, because I think it still had a lot more life left in it if GM had expanded their ingenuity and came up with some other platforms and maybe bigger batteries. 18 kW is in this one, and extended the range. I think they would have still had a viable market for a car like this. Anyhow, guys, well, thanks for letting me ramble on, and I'll talk to you later.